Here we go, it's Coach Pauly, Austin, Texas. Okay, so I'm in the power hour this morning and we're going over how to close in today's market. So obviously the market's shifting and I'm gonna give you a 3-point power play on being able to close in today's market. Okay, let's jump in. So first off, we need clarity. Okay, now I'm not sure how well you can see this. I wrote this all down and this is from the classroom this morning, so I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna talk through it, so if you can't see it, listen to me because I'm gonna be going through each section. First, we need clarity. Clarity is around motivation, right? Clarity on consideration. Are they really going to do this? And there's 2 questions for you to ask to have clarity around motivation. What's important about that? What's important about moving to Florida? What's important about considering to sell your property right now? And then number 2, what does that do for you? What does that do for you to be near your mom? And so when you're asking these questions, what's important about that? What's that do for you? You get to the core of the clarity around their motivation. Now look, beware, because they're not gonna answer these questions clearly and concisely. And so you need to dig a little bit deeper and either come back to those questions or ask those questions again because they don't give you the answers you're looking for. Okay, so you might need to ask those questions again. Certainly if you dig down on those questions and ask those questions in another round. So what's important about moving to Florida? So what does that do to be closer to your mom? So what's important about being able to care for her? So what would that do for you to be able to make sure that you're around her every single week? Now you're at the core. And now look, remember, you're a salesperson, you're a stranger, so they're gonna come at you with some resistance or some ambiguity, but you need clarity. Clarity around motivation. So these questions are critical for the closing process because you're gonna use that later. I'll show you how. Okay, step number 2 is consequence. Consequence. What's going on with the consequence of waiting? We are hearing so often right now, we'll just wait till next year, Pauly. And so look, there's a consequence to that. Now you can't just sit there and tell. So if you want to sell, you need to ask good questions. And so asking questions around, what do you see with the interest rates happening right now? What are your thoughts around inventory rising? So what have you seen with prices declining? Because these questions help identify consequence, the enemy. Okay, the enemy is the market, time versus money. And so if they're thinking of waiting until next year, think about this. Let's open up the conversation by asking good questions. How much appreciation have we lost already? Look, in Austin, it's around 5%. We're gonna know in a couple days how much depreciation has occurred. But look, we could very easily and conservatively figure we'll lose another 10%. So let's call it 15%. I think that's conservative, but let's call it 15%, okay, that we lose over the coming months of October, November, December, January, February. Terrible months of buyer activity. Now you add rising interest rates, buyer anxiety, less showings, prices declining. Look, we're gaining momentum here on the market slowing. And so when I ask good questions on what their mindset is around that, then I can make the market the enemy and be able to share the consequence. Because if we lose 15%, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, were you aware what the depreciation is on average normally across the United States? It's about 4%. And so look, even if it was 6 or 7%, are we likely to see 7 or 10% appreciation, do you think, in 2023? I don't know. Well, look, I don't know either, but it's probably less likely that we're going to see significant appreciation, 7, 8, 9%, when we've lost 15%. So look, if it could easily take 2 years to recover from this. I'm not saying that it's going to, but all signs point to that the spring won't be a better place. And we have a lot of sellers right now that are wishing they could get April numbers. And I can tell you right now, Mr. Seller, that there are going to be a lot of sellers in December, January that are wishing they could get September prices. So why don't we do this? Now I'm going to close. Why don't we just sit down and talk? I need to bring value and I need to have clarity around the value and bring some inside market information. And there'll be clarity around timing of what time frame might work best for you. And I know that ultimately at the end of the day, this is about you getting back to Florida to care for your mom. There's the motivation. There's the motivation that I want to bring back into the conversation and inject, because look, that's what this is really all about. Very, very few people rarely sell just because. And if they say so, they're lying, right? There's some reason, you just don't know it yet because you haven't asked the questions. You just haven't gained enough trust yet to get an authentic answer. You haven't dug in on those motivational questions, and when you can pepper that back into the conversation and make it what it's all about, and clearly bring some value, inside market information, clarity around timing, so that you can, and then bang, motivation, bang, you got to close. So clarity with motivation, consequences of the market, and really spending some time there. Certainly not in the absolutes, because I'm not trying to scare people, but I am trying to open up their perspective to where they are and what's actually going on. The full picture of the market by asking good questions to get consideration for the appointment. So clarity, consequence, I close for the appointment using those tactics. Bang, you got an appointment in today's market. Subscribe, share, tell your friends.